So, welcome everyone. I'm Alexander Mihalcea, and today we have one of the industry leaders, Kjell Jacobsson, founder of Prime Coach. Welcome, Kjell. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much. The day is good, and I'm happy to be with you today here. So thank you so much for that.
Awesome, and I'm excited to have you on the podcast today also, and I'm sure you're going to be of great value for our audience. Now, before we dive in, could you give us a quick overview of what Prime Coach does?
The Prime Coach is like a provider of services for managers, mostly in the bigger companies. And the key, like focusing over over a longer period of time was from the beginning to help people, managers on high level, with problems in their relation to alcohol. So that was a starting point. And then quite soon after some years with that, I discovered that I could also help them to communicate better, because every manager that I met that had a problem within their group with a guy that was drinking too much, they said this is one of the most difficult problem we have, to how to communicate this and so on. So I helped them very good in all the cases that I had, and that made me also change my offering over to communication, not only alcohol. And then it's been most communication questions all over the years. My main, services is how to communicate better, and the learnings that I mostly got over the years is from deep conflicts, and that's a very good learning for me, because through that I've really gone into how people can communicate in a better way, because conflict is severe things. It's like a stalemate many times. No one knows how to go further on and so on. So that's my main point: conflict resolution and leadership development in the communicational way. And communication is a very basic thing for me. It's how we
Yeah.
act, react between each other as humans, and that is very, very good to be at that grounding point.
Yeah. And that's fascinating. And for example, what inspired you to create Prime Coach? Was there a specific moment or experience that sparked this journey?
Okay, well, on the one hand, I was always thinking about having my own company for some way. It's in the family way back and so on, so maybe that was had some impact. And then, of course, the learnings that I got from working in the public social area, and for many years by just this helping people to act a better way, to not go into alcohol, to be have a bad conflict, not conflict, but in a bad relation with alcohol, which ruins many
Yeah.
lives. So when I really understood that, I got a lot of learnings from that. I worked in the public sector for about 8 or 9 years with helping people with alcohol problems, both those who were down at the street level, if we say it like that, and those who were still working good in society, have wives and kids and everything working. So I was working for many years with both sides of these, mostly the people who were quite well organized. So that was a good learning. So that, together with since if I go back then, for many years I was thinking about going out in my own company, many different directions. And then this came up that, okay, I got these learnings. It's very valuable on the market. And at that time, in the
Yeah.
1990s, it was not so many providers of these services. And when I started, the question was how. So I stopped there for a while.
Yeah. Okay. So, for example, how did your experience helping people with alcohol problems inform your approach to conflict resolutions in the workplace?
Yeah, it made me, the experience with working with people with those problems is to help them, to listen to them, be present, not push anything. It's not a good thing to lock on a target immediately. You have to really set a good communication, trust, and everything like that, and no hurry whatsoever, because then it doesn't work.
Yeah.
That, together with the learning that I told you a little about, that I can could teach or have could help managers on high level to act in difficult situations. That was the thing that brought me into this with conflict resolution. The best thing to say is grounded communication, staying cool, help people to get a better. If you go in more to conflict resolution, I can tell you more about that, but I don't know if we started that already or you tell me.
Yeah, you can expand on that part because it's interesting.
So mostly when you have a conflict, it's let's say that I'm the one side in the conflict, and I'm I'm having this conflict, and I think maybe we just make it like sketch it out like that, like this now. Maybe I think that those others on the other side in the company or this department, they are not thinking so good, or they are conservative. They want to have it like it has always been, or they are evil. Sometimes people can think like that. They really do something that is not good. And on the other side, something different, something similar can also emerge. So you have two parties like who are mostly almost like laced together in a very distorted, what do you say, like picture. So we have two parties, one like me then, who think this is not good. What are they doing? I don't trust them or whatever. So, and the other part is probably thinking the same way. And others looking at the
Hmm.
conflict can mostly only see this meeting between us, which is like distorted, like not or whatever you call it, stalemate, like it's like
Yeah,
in its own life. So mostly when people go into conflicts like that, they try to either be harsher, harder, and somehow part side of the conflicts are maybe better higher up in the organization, and then they can put pressure on the conflict, and by that way solve it in some way, but not so it is good for forever. It's itching a lot afterwards. And by
yeah,
that I would like
exactly.
to say a little more, but you can stop me where you like. The foremost, which I have seen, most used ways to solve, so to speak, solve a conflict. One is kick out the manager or someone who you think didn't work well and to whom many complaints were focused. That is one way. It's itching afterwards. It doesn't work. And many times they do that in the company or authority, in the leadership, that they kick someone out and they do not do anything else about the conversation. So the new leader coming in, he or she doesn't know really what the phone can I do with this. Another way is to have a mediation. You put someone in who is like above, and maybe come to some solution where they can admit to, okay, let's do like this, and then you have a solution. But that one is also itching afterwards. Or you can have a
Yeah,
negotiations, which maybe creates the same thing. You can negotiate, but still there is some problems afterwards. And the fourth one that I would like to mention is also when you go into hiring consultants that go in and go around. If it's a big conflict, they can go around the company or others and make interviews, and then they put a report together, and that is going to make to be the ground for the decision for the management. And when you've done that, no, it doesn't matter what decision you do or whatever, but maybe you can have some solution from that, and you kick out someone or you do something else. But the thing is, when you've done that, you a lot of interviews and things, then you somewhat not materialize, but you lift the conflict up to the surface and you make more of it than you have to do. So it stays so.
yeah,
Spoken to managers that says, okay, we have that thing that was rolling under the surface for up to 10 years because no one solved it. Yeah, that was the most common ways to that I've heard about to solve the conflict. But what I do, if I got this, can I go on with that now? I got this, yeah,
okay,
I do that. If I get a question from a company or authority, can you meet this manager and help him or her to solve the conflict? Then I would be happy to go with him or her and do nothing else, do meet no one else in the organization, just him or her. And we sit down, we have a conversation, and he or she tells me everything about the conflict. Maybe harsh things, thinking, oh, they are so, I'm, I'm exaggerating that they are so bad, they do not good things, and so on, and a lot of that. And I let everything of this come out, and it's only me and this girl person speaking. I go not around making interviews, no one else, and I don't even want to have any what do you say, like information before I go to meet him. Because this thing is, if I'm going to help him or her, I have to have the information from him or her. And that's the best way for this person to also develop his own mind and thinking about the conflict. So we sit
Yeah,
down and talk.
exactly.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, go on, go on, go on.
okay. And they gave me the story, the situation, and everything. And when it comes to some point, I say, okay, uh, let's say like you can take this all that you have told me now. This is a symbolic gesture. Take it all in your pulse like this, in your embrace it, everything. Look at it. And this is not something that I'm doing when I'm sitting with a person. I'm just giving them the tip. Next, when we separate, when you go to yourself, take some time in a room, sit and look at all these things that you told me about, everything that is containing the conflict, everything. Don't skip anything. Take everything, look at it, and when you have come to the point when you can still look at everything like this, all still in a symbolic way, and never and not getting angry in any case anymore. You can be calm and you can look at it. And when you come
Yeah,
to that point,
exactly.
that you still can see everything and don't get upset and want to correct anything. You can just look at it calmly. Then my suggestion is this is symbolic as well. Take it
Yeah,
in your arms like this, and with very gentle put it aside like that in your mind. Put it aside very gently in your mind. And that's the thing. And after that, I'm not giving any more advices whatsoever. We can meet repeatedly for a long period of time, but I'm not giving any advices what to do. Because the thing is, if this person uh, addresses the conflict, then it's ruined again. The thing is, don't address the conflict whatsoever. Just be cool, go down in your own mind where you are not conflicting anything more. Just be there. And then they say to me, okay, I think I can do this, but if I, in some hour later, it comes to me again. Okay, do the
right.
same thing. And before
Okay.
coming meeting, you think you have the same feeling. Okay, let's then just stop. If it comes to you then, don't try to push it away. Just let it stop in your mind where it is and go to the meeting, do what you want, do what you have to do, and then go back for yourself and look at it and put it aside in a gentle way. The same if you wake up in the night, do the same thing. So, how can you come to this point? Yeah, one thing that because when I'm working like this, it's coming back and forth. I have no system that it goes exactly like this. But one thing that I would like to tell you all about now is I usually or almost always put these questions to the person that I'm working with. What do you think? Or what do you think about that people in general most like to have in their lives? If we think that they got a roof over them, clothes on, and food to eat, that they are fed and they are quite good. What is more? And then sometimes, mostly, I help them to say good relations with the surrounding, with the family, with the block where you live, with the country, the city, or whatsoever. No one says anything else than that. Next question which I put is, if you have some mission to do, you are in the boat club or the gymnastic club, and you have a party and you are going to arrange something. Maybe you bake a cake or you do the settings on the table. Do you think that anyone would do that in a bad way? Or if they have a work that is paid as well, same thing. You're a dentist, you're a car mechanic, or you're a high-tech engineer or whatever. Do you think that anyone would like to do a bad work? No one. No, no, no. The same question, the same
Yeah.
answer there. And the third question is, do you know anyone that you would that you could describe as all through ill-willing or evil? And the same
Yeah.
answer there. No one has ever presented me a person like that. So these three questions, mostly they build like a ground, a foundation for our going on discussion, conversation that we have, our dialogue. And it's very important that this is only a dialogue between me and this guy who is in charge and can have some impact on the conflict, not by focusing it, but putting it, set. set a new setting for the whole mental surrounding, so that the atmosphere gets better.
Yeah.
And this is not done by, but this is not at all done by, okay, now I'm going to change, I'm going to be kind, and it is nothing with that. It's just your own mind change. And when you change like this, when I do it, if I'm the one in the conflict with it, as we said from the beginning, when I change my mind like this, that I could put things away that was very harsh before, like a framework around everything. When I do that, it also has some impact, not just some, it has a great impact on the other side of the conflict. In some way, it goes further on to them as well, because if they send out they make a call or they do something else addressed to me, then there is no more any answer of these hostile things that was before. And it has so much to do with my own mind. I think I'll stop there for a little while.
Yeah, okay. So I have a question regarding this. So, for example, what are the key differences between the leadership challenges in the public and private sectors?
The differences between private sector or public sector. Was that what you said?
Yeah, yeah.
Mainly, there are no differences at all when it comes to these questions, what I'm just described for you. There is no difference whatsoever. Nay, nay, nay. When you have
Hmm.
leadership challenges, then there are differences a little, not so much. But because in the public sector, you have as a manager on higher level, you have to look at a lot of different things that's going on in discussion in society, media things, and so on. It's not that you are going to respond to it mainly, but it has some effect on your work. It's a little different in private companies, but they have also more and more impact from the world around them, of course. But I think it's a little harder in the public sectors.
Okay, see. But for example, what are the common mistakes leaders making when dealing with conflict?
Again, that's yeah, it is. The mistake is that you think. Now we go down to the back to the basic level because it's important. And the most frequent mistake is, and that is a cultural aspect. That has a cultural aspect on it also because we are so fed up. Not fed up. We are more or less. What do you say? Like you have been nurtured by conflict as a thing which is very similar to fight. It's very similar. It goes together. They go together through history. I cannot speak everything about that now, but that makes it so anyone who are in the neighborhood of conflict, someone mentioned it and so on, they go in some alert thinking, okay, this is going to be a fight. I don't want to be in the fight, and they go somewhere else. I mean, in their mind, or this is
Yeah,
going to be a fight. I have to be strong. I have to strengthen myself. I have to be very decisive. It's not bad to be decisive because here we have got some similarities. If you are decisive and knows what to do and not put it up in the back, put it out, and it's good. But now we're talking about more like people think they are going to be strong. They have to have some armor or whatever and really go on with this. And of course, many companies do it like that as well. But that's not a good way because then you have things staying under the surface for a long time, mostly, not always, but
yeah, right.
yeah. So the mistake is to go. The biggest mistake is to go into reinforcement and think you have to fight, and you have to really. And then another thing which is quite common to fight is to argue so much that people cannot say anything more. Because if you argue too much, it's almost like fighting. People tend to okay, I cannot say anything more. So then they are defeated in some way. And that's not a good way of solving a conflict within an authority or a company, because your aim is probably to have a good relation between people working on
Yeah.
also.
Yeah, and I have a curiosity by then. So, for example, how can leaders deliver important information without being perceived as rude or harsh?
Yeah, let's say that is you can call this we can focus on difficult conversation. Like you have to tell someone in your company, some department, that they have to leave. The hardest thing that many say is you have to go from the
Yeah,
company. We have to adjust our staff. You have to go. I'm sorry, they think, and you have to go. And this is by many people looked upon as a very, very harsh thing, and they look upon it as it's very easy for many. I met so many about this. They go into a position thinking mentally that they are some kind of, what do you call this when you capitalizing people, you killing them almost. You say, oh, you are condemned
Yeah.
to a not good life anymore, and that is of course forced by many over the years by media reportage and things about industries that had to go away and so on. So many people, and also on the highest level, are filled up with these things, and they think that they are doing something very bad. And when they are doing that, and it can also go to like they think, okay, this is so bad. This is actually so bad that I never thought I would do it. So if I'm going to tell my colleague here that he has to leave, I also have to add these things. This is so harsh for me. I would never think that I had to say this to you. And they
Yeah.
excuse themselves by that. And what happens when you say like that? Yeah, the thing is that the one that is taking the information from you. He is disturbed in his mind because you are putting your own senses together with the message. So it's so much better if you just can see, okay, this is this is what I have to do. Good with it because I'm on this position and I will stay on this position. There is no doubt about that. And I can also see that the
Yeah,
company
exactly.
has to survive. Sorry, the
No, no,
company has
no.
to
Keep
survive.
going. Yeah.
So that's why we have to say this to you. And when I have this basic thing, the ground, the foundation, and I'm also clear with myself and my position, as I said before, also, and there is no doubt about that. Then I can give this message with full presence and just putting it over like on a silver plate, uh, and just give it very, very clear, like crystal clear,
Yeah.
with no harsh, no harm, nothing like that, but just giving it with fully present. That's very hard for people to think upon, but it's very possible if you really go into this, what I said before, the ground, the foundation, what do I think? And you can also think about this. Mostly people are not going into the to die just because they lose their job. Many of them have a good, what do you say, like it's something that tricks them to triggers them to go on with totally different,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, So yeah, I don't know. Was that the answer on the question you put, or no?
Yeah, yeah, it is. But for example, how do you help leaders navigate the difficult situations and communicate clearly with their teams?
Yeah, it's a little about the same thing. I think you
Yeah,
yeah, when you, because this has to do, of course, if you feel that you are that it's itching on your own position, you don't like the company leadership or whatever, then it's very hard. But say that the settings is, or the ground is that you are good in you like your job and you are doing the right things, then you can really tell people what is important to tell them without putting anything into your own mind that you are doing something bad. And
yeah,
then this makes me say a little more about this when you are leaving a message that you think that people can think is not so good. Because I met people who say, okay, I know that this is a bad thing for them, they think so. So I'm going to put away all the bad things in my mind aside. I put them aside like that. And they put pressure on it to keep it aside when they meet this person to talk with him or her. But the thing is, how good you are, it doesn't matter how good you are, like acting, posture, what you are saying, your words and everything. If you got this carried message beside you somewhere, it goes through to the other one. And this is just like, it's not like you think it would. No, it goes through all the times. And how can you what can you describe that makes it easy to understand this? Yes, you can do like this. I've asked many people, have you been to some meeting in some company where you were hired sometimes or now, where the manager are standing on the stage saying something about the company's development, and you feel, okay, he or she is saying this, but I feel something under. It's not good because
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, yeah. So people can really recognize this, and that this helps this discussion. So it's very
Okay.
basic knowledge.
And now walk us through how Prime Coach has their approach unique. Why do you prefer working with leaders as one-on-one rather than with management groups?
Okay, that's a good question. Yeah, many years ago, like I think it was 20 years ago, when I met consultants, some of them who had been working with, they had been down in Europe having good education in coaching and everything like that, and they worked with groups, and they came into a management group and worked beside the manager, the leader of the group, and he, so to speak, said, or she said, okay, it's good, we have this, we want to change the management group, we have to have more creativity in it and so on. And they work together. And this, not every day, but let's say that this consultant came back once a week for a period of time, or once every third week for a half a year. And that coming back intermittently like that made many of them not understand, but hesitating about the leadership. Who is actually the leader of the group? So it tended to disrupt the group and the creativity of the group. And then when this consultant left, it has to be some reorganization, because then when these difficulties where people were wondering who is actually the leader for a long period of time, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, or something like that, then it has to reorganize, and it could be very hard. And they told me about this, so that made me think, okay, I will never go in and work with the whole management group. So from that on, I say my offer is, if you want to develop your creativity and also come down to that no, it's enough of that. If you want that, then I can go into you. I can meet you at the first presentation, let's say half an hour, meet you and tell a little about who I am. And then if you like, I would like to go on working for like at least 3 months, mostly half a year, maybe, with regularly meetings with everyone in the group, but always only individually. So I have individual talk with everyone regularly. And the thing is that I really, because when I started to say this, people asked them, but then can you really stand for that? And you don't put away some hostage messages between the group members and so on. You have to trust me, I would never do that. Because if the group is
Yeah.
going to develop, the only chance to do real development of the group is that everyone has unique access to their own unique abilities, knowledges, experiences, and everything over the lifetime and in work and everything, and that they are so clear with themselves and feel, okay, this is what I know, and that they are not anyway going into a fighting thing, because many management groups, I've seen a lot of them, they think, okay, I have to say this to get a little better place, and this is a good idea. I wonder what they say, and then you put it forward and think you have better relations in your career or whatever. But this is not working. So I help them to be open, little like I said, how to present a maybe
Yeah.
harsh message, but all messages are like coming from a creativity that is not fighting or putting anyone aside. It's just, this is a message. I think it could be good for all of us. So that's the thing. But these things you have to talk about for over time, of course.
Yeah,
But if
exactly.
people really get it, it's amazing. It's really creative. Did you
Okay.
get that?
And
What it for?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And for example, how do you help individuals discover and leverage their unique skills and personality in leadership roles?
Yeah, it is. It is about admitting yourself and your own presence. Because I met individuals, managers on quite high level, who are hesitating about their own role, and they think that they have to be better than they have to be better all the time. They have to present something very good. That's not bad, of course, but when that
Yeah,
when the most energy comes on that I have to be better than the others, it's like fighting or running 100 meters competition, the only thing you do that is just, okay, I will be best at 100 meter or whatever, but the creativity, the communication goes away. So
Yeah.
that's one way to describe it. Yeah, mostly it can be when I work with some, as I told you, when I work with the management groups or with one leader, with can do also. Leaders can come and we can have a conversation, dialogue over like 3 months, 6 months together quite regularly. And what I do is to when I do that is to help them to get grounded, to really understand this is not bad. I have done that. I know this. I'm accepted. I'm chosen on this position. That's important. You can go back to that because yes, I met many leaders who are hesitant, which is not so strange. If I go back to myself and my own career, I can see situations where I were hesitating. What the phone can I do now? What can I do? So I would have liked to have more support over my career if I look back. So that is also a good thing to bring with you and use when you talk with others, of course. But
Okay.
it's how to do it is to be genuine, to be present, and not to. I've heard this. It can be a little difficult, but then sometimes people are saying, "Okay, I'm going from being a member of the group to be the manager," because that happens many times. You go up on a higher level. And then I've heard many instructions about that from some companies who are doing education that they, okay, now it's totally different. You are a leader. You cannot be friends with your friends anymore. Blah blah blah. Blah. Sorry for those words. They are not worth anything. But but if you do that and really put it like that, it can be very hard because it's not that you are going to not be friends anymore. The thing is, you have some different uh, options and duties now, and you have to do
Yeah.
that. It's nothing more than that. You do your duty, but it doesn't mean that you cannot speak with your fellow companions or whatever what you call it. So sometimes educational things makes it harder for people to go up a level, and they think that they have to be more strong and so on. Of course, there are differences when you change the level. But if you
Yeah.
exaggerate them, then you get people a little more scared and they tend to go like that. And it's not good because even if you speak well and blah, blah, it doesn't work because people
Yeah.
will be
Right.
scared. Was that
Right. Right.
okay?
Right.
We got it.
Yeah. 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 Perfect. Perfect. And now, looking at the broader industry, how
Yeah,
do you see the role of leadership evolving in the future?
that's a very interesting question and important. Many sides of it. Uh, One thing that I think of now, immediately when you ask me that, is that over the time here in Europe, in Sweden and in Europe totally, it has been since, what is it, 2 decades, changing a lot when it comes to rules in both authorities and in private companies. You have to act like following a rule, regulation, quite harsh one. And the banking industry, that is very terrible. No, when I'm using the word terrible, I'm just saying it's so huge that you cannot really understand it because I can say that I worked a lot also with banks, and and one connection that told me that they had like I don't know how many. It was many thousands of small regulations that you have to think of in the banking industry. No one person ever can have that in their head and mind and use it. So it's so much time destroyer. So these rules are time destroyers on the one hand, and they are also not just destroying time, they are also destroying creativity. Because I
Yeah.
found out that probably because I've been looking from the side, I've been in the authorities before, but now I'm looking from the side. And my observation is that the leadership really suffers from this because there are so many rules that you have to take care of, and you take away the the real leadership that is coming from your personality together with the company's or the authorities' rules. And it could work
Mhm.
quite good before, but now it's very hard. And I remember some years ago when I was speaking to an HR manager for a big industry company, and she said, "Yeah, you can come back maybe in some month or so and talk about these things. It doesn't matter what we were talking about, but it was about supporting the teams and things like that. Because now," she said, "they are so up in these rule following things, so they are not, we cannot talk with them at all." From the industry, or trying to make progress and
Right.
offer things to it's not good. One little information that I had. So
Yeah.
that's great. It's a great hinder, and I hope
Interesting
really that.
perspective. Yeah.
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 So
And for example, what advice would you give to aspiring leaders looking to develop their skills and build the effective teams?
my advice, it depends on how. This is an advice given like my words now, so that is important.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, my advice would be listen to yourself uh, when you are choosing what career you are going into. And that can be hard, but it's important. And also listen to the surrounding, what people are telling you and what companies are saying or what the university says and so on. But be very clear that go into something that you really would like to work with. That is important. And when you come into a company, maybe but that was a question, when you are a little in, then it is important to be aware of. It is good to show your knowledge. It's good to show your, what do you say, like energy and so on. But it's also good to listen to older colleagues. If they are based and good, you can listen to them, you can see them, and you can have some advices from them. And it's also good. Now we are talking about the whole area where you go into an industry, but when you have when you have come some way on the way, then it's very good to talk to someone, to have what do you call an advisor or a person you can come back to and get some advices currently in your career. Because and if you got some person there in the company or some other company, it would be better. Mostly some other company or some other authority, then they can help you. If they are well balanced and good experienced and everything like that, then they can give you good advices about how to come further on. Take advice from older colleagues, and that will be good for them as well, because then you um, feed both directions. Younger people come in and
Yeah.
listen, and older people get new ideas as well, because that's also how it is.
Right. Right. And as you wrap up, what's next for Prime Coach? Any exciting development on the horizon?
Yeah, the autumn is probably quite kind of, what do you say, like I, I'm looking forward to a nice autumn or fall with new engagements, and I'm also preparing. I'm quite done with that now, so I'm ready for it with some lectures as well. And I like to do lectures when the audience is not that big, but I'm also coming into that, I think. But lectures with smaller audiences are good because you can have questions and you can have a little more like a discussion. But that's
Yeah.
that's what I'm planning, and that's what is ahead. And also planning when it comes to lectures a little about this that we touched today, just because I said it once when I said something about how to go on, because it was about the culture, about conflict and fight, and the
Yeah.
language
Exactly.
that we got because I started to. That's one thing that maybe goes together with this why I went into this conflict resolution. Good. Now I remember, because you asked me that. Yeah, it is many. I think it's more than 2 decades ago. It's three. Already when I was in the public service, I started to notice that the conversation in papers and then in media, I mean internet and so on, are filled up with military words. And when I say that, I'm not
Yeah.
saying, okay, this is not good. Let get rid of them. It's not about that, but it's the notion. If you notice this and think of it sometimes, then it helps you to come further on in different situations. And the thing that we talked about was that conflict and fight has been walking together over thousands of years. And there are
Yeah.
many others. I remember one where I cannot translate it, but it was one of the politicians in high level some many years ago, 10, 15, said about another politician that he was bending his head from the bullets, from the where the bullets were going. And we have not been in war for hundreds of years, as you know. But that description was set out in a paper, and no one ever reflected upon it. But I did. I took it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Interesting.
it's not about it's bad to do it, but it's good to notice and understand that. So maybe I will talk a little more about that.
Yeah. Yep. Great.
Yeah, and also,
And for listener,
also,
okay. Okay. See. And for listeners who want to learn more or potentially work with Prime Coach, what's the best way to get in touch?
what's the best way to contact me? Or yeah,
Yeah, to get in touch with you, with the company as well.
yeah, anyone is always free to make contact with me, and I got my email, I got my website, of course, also. I'm working like that I'm always, it's been like that all over the years, that I'm always available on the phone, except when it's turned off, which is it now, for example. But I'm always calling back if people call me or send them, if there are. And also, I would like to some more small words about mails, because I am, like mostly other people, not drowned. It rains mails, which looks like being artificially made. And it's not a good way. As soon as I see someone that I think, okay, this is a person, and there is also some connection address or phone number, then it's more likely to be alive. I mean, and
Yeah, makes sense.
anyone is welcome to contact me. The Prime Coach website is www.primecoach.se. You can always go there. Uh, but yeah, and my mail address. Do you sort of put that forward, or shall I mention it now?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, shall I say it? Okay, it's Kjell.Jacobsson. Yeah,
Okay, great. Yeah. So, thank you for sharing the insights about you and the company as a whole, and thank you for this amazing podcast session.
thank you so much, Alexander. I was thrilled before, and I'm happy to have it was possible to share some time with you. Thank you so much, and
Yeah,
everyone is
thank you for the
welcome.
valuable insights.
Thank you. Bye.
See you in the next episode.